Hi everybody, Sean at SK Customs. I want to talk to you about oil catch can setups on your Syclone or Typhoon. And I always basically want to cross off some questions. I can't answer everything in my post, but just trying to do a little discussion and help get a better understanding for you guys. So what I usually do is I get rid of the factory PCV system. Obviously, if you ever worked on your truck to a certain degree, you have oil buildup in your either your stock turbo orange elbow that you see. Sometimes there's oil in the turbo itself. There's oil in the factory elbow going to the intercooler, and obviously throttle body and intake setup. So if you ever have the factory intercooler off, you open up the throttle body, you see all this gunk in there. Well, that's from your factory PCV system. Obviously the engineers know what they're doing from the factory, and what that does is basically recirculate oil back into the engine instead of dumping oil out of the engine onto the road or atmosphere and etc. But the whole part of the PCV system is to help ventilate the engine with vacuum. That's a good thing, but also it creates a bad thing as well with oil in the intake track. And I did mention in my post that if you have oil going into your intake track, it's potentially lowering your octane rating in your fuel, and if you're obviously running a boosted application or added timing on your tune, that oil is not going to help you in any sort of way. So what I usually do is I get rid of the factory PCV system and I run lines from each valve cover. Obviously the old school way is, and it's totally fine too, it just depends on the health of your engine and also the baffling of your valve covers. The stock valve covers have pretty good baffling, so you can run little filters on each valve cover, and make sure you have to plug the port going to the back of the throttle body, which was a PCV valve from the factory, or else you'll have a big vacuum leak. But what I usually do, instead of running filters on each valve cover, which potentially could fill up with oil because it's direct shot, these have good oiling from the factory going to the head, so those filters can get contaminated with oil, and then you have oil leaks going on the side and onto your exhaust manifolds. But I get rid of all that usually, and I run an oil catch can with lines going to a vented catch can. Minimum I'd recommend is -10 AN. That's perfectly fine for basically every Syclone or Typhoon out there, unless you're going crazy horsepower, 2,000 horsepower. But for the most part, -10 AN is plenty of ventilation, and you want to go each valve cover, this side and that side. There's a filter on top of your catch can. A single filter catch can is perfectly fine as long as it has good baffling inside. So let's say you grenade your engine, piston ring, something, and it creates a lot of crankcase pressure and oil gets out of the valve train into those lines and fills up into the catch can. You want a good baffled catch can so oil doesn't come out and obviously get all over your engine bay, tires, etc. So you want a good vented catch can. And obviously there's a bunch of different ways to route lines or mount a can. You know, there's a lot of different options out there, but this is what I usually run. Relatively good priced, and does the job. So yeah, if you have any more questions, leave a comment below and I'll try to answer it. Thanks, guys.